And we're now close to entering the final countdown for the launch of the last flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour on mission STS-134. This is the 134th launch of the Space Shuttle program, the 25th launch of Space Shuttle Endeavour, and the 36th flight to the International Space Station. Endeavour will deliver the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, called AMS-2, a particle physics detector designed to search for various types of unusual matter by measuring cosmic rays. Its experiments are designed to help researchers study and look for clues to the formation of the universe. And here is Commander Mark Kelly, our 134 mission commander, making his fourth flight on the Space Shuttle. He's logged a total of 38 days in space. His latest flight was in 2008 on STS-124. Going over to our pilot now, Greg Johnson. He's making his second space flight, previously also piloted on STS-123 in 2008. He's logged over 4,000 hours in 40 different types of aircraft. This is Mike Fink, Mission Specialist number 1. This is his third space flight, but his first space shuttle flight. He was launched previously from Russia on Soyuz spacecraft, and he's logged 365 days in space with over 26 hours on 6 spacewalks. Mission Specialist Greg Shamatoff. This is his second space flight, but he's already logged 183 days in space aboard the space station. He's Canadian-born from Montreal. And there's Drew Feustel, Mission Specialist number 3, making his second trip into space. He served as an astronaut for more than a decade, working on both the Space Shuttle and the Space Station branches in Houston. He flew on the 5th and final HST servicing mission. And Roberto Vittori. He's Mission Specialist number 2. He was selected as an astronaut by the European Space Agency. He's from Viterbo, Italy. And he has flown to the International Space Station twice. And here come our astronauts, leaving the suit-up room bound for the elevator that will take them down to the astronaut van, the Astrovan. This is the same elevator that all astronauts since Apollo have used to leave the crew quarters and go out to the launch pad.
And NTD, your polls go. Is that affirmative?
That is affirmative. We are all go.
Okay, copy that. KC Chief Processing Engineer, verify no constraints to launch.
No constraints.
Thank you, Steve. KC Safety Mission Assurance.
KC Safety and Mission Assurances go.
Thank you, Dave. Payload Launch Manager.
Mike, Space Station Processing Teams go.
Thank you, Bill. Range Weather.
Weather has no constraints to launch.
Thank you, Kathy. And Ops Manager.
Mike, things look real good today. Thanks to your team for getting us back here. You're a good launch Endeavour.
Good. Thank you, sir. Endeavour Launch Director, Air to Ground 1.
Good.
Okay, Mark, looks like a great day to launch Endeavour for the final time. So on behalf of the thousands of proud Americans who have been part of her journey, good luck, Godspeed, and we'll see you back here June 1st.
Thank you, sir. On this final flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour, we want to thank all the tens of thousands of dedicated employees that have put their hands on this incredible ship and dedicated their lives to the Space Shuttle program. As Americans, we endeavor to build a better life than the generation before, and we endeavor to be a united nation. astronauts, we are often tested. This mission represents the power of teamwork, commitment, and exploration. It is in the DNA of our great country to reach for the stars and explore. We must not stop. To all of the millions watching today, including our spouses, children, family, and friends, we thank you for your support.
Endeavour OTC, it's your final voyage. This is both a sad and proud moment for your launch team and for America, but your legacy will live on. Mission success with AMS, a truly international effort. Godspeed, and see you back in a couple of weeks.
Endeavour copies. Thanks for the words. Appreciate it.
Endeavour OTC, close and lock your visors. Initiate O2 flow.
Endeavour and work.
Go for main engine start. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 0, and liftoff for the final launch of Endeavour, expanding our knowledge while expanding our lives in space.
Houston, Endeavour, roll program.
Roger, roll, Endeavour.
Houston is now controlling. Endeavour beginning to pull over onto its back. The roll program underway as Endeavour begins a heads-down position on course for a 51.6 degree, 136 by 36 statute mile orbit. Three engines now throttling down as Endeavour passes through the area of maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle in the lower atmosphere. And standing by for separation of the solid rocket boosters. Orbiter is now traveling 3,200 miles per hour, downrange 50 miles, altitude 37 miles. All systems in good shape.
Endeavour, press D'Amico and single engine Zaragoza 104.
Roger, press D'Amico, single engine Zaragoza 104.
Several calls there. Endeavour can reach a safe orbit on 2 engines now. The guidance system is controlling the engines to roll Endeavour to a heads-up position to optimize the air-to-ground communications through the satellite network.
Okay, ohms burn starting in 5 seconds.
About now. Here we go.
Here we go.
Whoa!
That's a real burn.
It's a long burn. We can do that again.
You're right.
There it goes.
Yeah, that's like a tenth of a G.
Where's your other boot, by the way?
It's tied off.
Start of payload bay door opening. Payload bay door is ongoing. It looks like a dual motor time.
All right, here we are in the flight deck of Endeavour, flight day 1. Recently in space. Sorry about the cloud deck when we took off.
We're really excited. It's great to be up here.
I'll have to say it was a lot different than flying on the Soyuz.
Ready for the left ohms accumulator.
And back to work.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, here we are, Roberto and I. We're on the mid deck. We're setting up GERA, which is our water purification system over here. And we've been in space now for what, 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. And amazingly, we're all feeling great. This is awesome. I can't wait to get back to the space station and feeling just awesome. Roberto?
My first ride on the shuttle was an amazing launch, and then Miko. I was a little afraid, but got quickly adapted, and it's very interesting to work with old shuttle systems. And I need to say that it's easier here in microgravity than was during the training floor. Most of the equipment here just makes sense. It is very intuitive, and happy to be here.
The day's activities will focus primarily on the inspection of the thermal protection system, in particular the wing leading edge reinforced carbon-carbon panels, 22 of which are on each wing of the orbiter, and also the nose cap made of the same material. All of that inspection will take, over the course of the cruise timeline, several hours. The starboard wing will be the first survey. That's budgeted for just under 2 hours. The crew will then break for a midday meal and then perform the inspection of the nose cap and then kick off the left wing survey. Once all of that is completed, the robotic arm will then be used to stow the boom back along the right sill of the orbiter's payload bay, and then move on to the task of grappling the express logistics carrier, which is in the forward, or actually the mid portion of Endeavour's payload bay.
A bunch of viruses in these tubes. Frank, turn a handle, shake these things up,
we're getting audio now.
and it mixes, does some mixture, and later we'll deactivate it. Got a bunch of them in here. It kind of takes a while. 2 more to go.
All right. Direct goodbye. You are over South China Sea. South China Sea, wow.
Well, a lot of airplanes are contrailing today.
All right.
You guys look great. You know why I'm wearing these? Because it looks cool.
It looks cool.
Hey, I've got a pair of those.
Elbow wrist boom.
Elbow wrist boom.
Former movie.
Elbow wrist boom.
That's our
Still
job.
watching.
Elbow wrist boom.
We're just rocking out on the
Hey,
flight
Mike.
deck.
Hey, it's just amazing that you can see the entire arm using windows only.
Yeah.
Not have to use the TV monitors like we had to do on station at one time.
It doesn't look like a simulation anymore when you're not looking at monitors.
Oh, the simulation graphics are pretty good.
Yep.
I think
These are great.
These graphics are
even
even better.
Yeah. I don't know how old the shrimp is, but it seems too fresh.
Some asparagus.
Yeah. Hey, I want that asparagus.
Have some fiesta chicken. That's the best stuff.
And views of Space Shuttle Endeavour from the International Space Station cameras on the outside of the complex. This view from a distance of 50,800 feet. The trajectory control sensor has acquired the target.
We think MC3 is a no-burn.
We concur, Endeavour.
And with that call, the third mid-course correction burn is not required based on the trajectory of Endeavour to the International Space Station.
Okay. It's going to be some hands. I'm going to go 1 and X. X, right,
I'm going to start going up on top of your seat.
I'll be careful.
Ready?
Going in.
Initiating RPM on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Endeavour is now 310 feet from the International Space Station. Flight Director Gary Horlocker now pulling his flight control team here in the shuttle flight control room for a go for docking. The crew, meanwhile, is in the process of powering up the orbiter docking system. View of the orbiter docking system with the ring extended. That obviously is the first contact with the docking port on the International Space Station. The station's docking port, the pressurized mating adapter attached to the Harmony module of the International Space Station. At the top of the view, you also see the European Space Agency laboratory.
Houston and station, capture is confirmed.
Hello.
Hi, welcome aboard the station. Hey, you guys wore coordinating shirts. We didn't do that. It's okay. Hello. How's it going? How are you? Good. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you, my drug. Привет.
Welcome, Dad.
Hey, how you doing? Ron.
Good. Good seeing you.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you doing, buddy? Hello. How are you doing? Good to see you guys. All right. Okay.
Привет. Привет. Oh,
All right.
what's up with the mic?
All right, Taz.
I will be included in subgroup to Shuttle.
Space Shuttle robotic arm back in motion. You can see the Express Logistics carrier moving away from the Space Shuttle's cargo bay, and beginning to be able to see as well the alpha magnetic spectrometer in the back of the cargo bay. Main cargo brought up by Endeavour for this mission.
And Houston, this is the cupola. The UMA mate is complete, and with that, congratulations to the whole team, and special thanks to the guys on the shuttle side, Mike and Roberto. The ELC-3 is successfully installed.
The crew aboard Space Shuttle Endeavour is awake and busily preparing for its day, which the focus of attention of which is the installment of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, the primary payload of the mission, onto its permanent home on the International Space Station out on the S3 truss structure, the S3 segment of the International Space Station. The shuttle's robotic arm now has the brakes on. It's in the position now for the handoff. Next up will be for the station robotic arm to maneuver over to the AMS and capture the other grapple fixture. And Canadarm 2 now being maneuvered from a robotic workstation inside the cupola to capture the alpha magnetic spectrometer, currently in the firm grasp of the shuttle's robotic arm.
On the big loop, the SSRMS grapple is complete, the brakes on, and you guys are go for SRMS release.
the AMS is being positioned to its final location about 1 foot away.
Taz, this is Box. Maneuvers to RTLs is complete. Your go for first phase capture. Very well done, Box. We're ready for first phase capture.
You're looking over the shoulder of Shuttle Commander Mark Kelly as he attaches the simplified aid for EVA rescue, the SAFER device, which is essentially a device that holds compressed gas, compressed nitrogen that allows crew members, if they inadvertently became untethered from the station and floated away from the complex, could actually activate the SAFER device and fly themselves back to the confines, the safety of the space station. First out of the hatch is Drew Feustel.
As I'm out of your way. Okay. Watch the wire tie there with the MMOD. Looking good, just like the pool. Whoa. Keep it just like the pool for a while and it'll all look good.
Drew, I just wanted to say welcome back to open space, and Taz, congratulations on being the 201st human being to be in outer space. I waited a long time to say those words to you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Big. Thank you. You know, it's a dream come true for me.
Drew, good checks. You are to continue outboard to Bay 19, and you are going to stow your SETA bag on S3 handrail 3046 and 3038.
Drew Feustel, you see carrying the materials ISS experiment retrieved. That will be returned home. He's going to put that in the shuttle's payload bay. The stowage of the Missy 7 experiment that has been located on the station, that experiment is coming home. A view of Drew Feustel.
It's seated in the bottom as far down as it'll go. Is it against the back?
Greg Chamatoff making his way back out to the port side of the truss to assist Drew Feustel with the jumper installation, the ammonia jumper installation.
And Greg, I have a note here that we wrote after our last run for you to mind the rest. Copy.
In correction, that is actually Chamatoff. He is working to install one of the handrails with the camera already integrated onto it. Each of those handrails is held down by 2 bolts.
6, Delta 282.
Get a good view of how these antennas are installed. You can see how they're integrated onto the handrails that the astronauts use to move around the station.
Going to attach it. I just wanted to double check with you guys so that you're kosher with that plan also.
The crew lock portion of the Quest airlock, which is what the spacewalkers actually exit the station from, is actually rather small. It's a bit of a stretch to get both the spacewalkers and all their equipment into it, and so the intravehicular crew has to be on hand to help them both in and out of that portion of the airlock.
Booster, the EVA glove photos will be on SSC-8. They're copying now in about 4 minutes.
Copy SSC.
with that orbiter boom sensor system on the end of the robot arm, it's looking all the way across the underside of the vehicle over toward the right side. It actually will be positioned with the laser camera system pointed about 7 feet or so away from the area of interest. And this is the view of the damage area, that the tile that crosses essentially over a couple of tiles. This area is between the right main landing gear door and the external tank door.
Check MCC for the field of view.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Select, scan iRes.
If scanning with no RMS motion, that's the case.
There are 5 different scan locations, and this is the second of those 5. Again, the different angles will allow the damage assessment team to provide a very detailed 3-dimensional image after gathering all of this data on the ground.
Welcome aboard the space station, Your Holiness.
Dear astronauts, I'm very happy to have this extraordinary opportunity to converse with you during your mission. I'm especially grateful to be able to speak to so many of you, as both crews are present on the space situation of this time. Humanity is experiencing a period of extremely rapid progress in the fields of scientific knowledge and technical applications. In a sense, you are our representatives, spearheading humanity's exploration of new spaces and possibilities for our future, going beyond the limitations of our everyday existence. We all admire your courage, as well as the discipline and commitment with which you prepared yourselves for this mission. We are convinced you are inspired by noble ideals and that you intend placing the results of your research and endeavors at the disposal of all humanity and for the common good. This conversation gives me the chance to express my own admiration and appreciation to you, and to also collaborate in making your mission possible, and to add my heartfelt encouragement to bring it to a safe and successful conclusion.
The crew members inside the Quest airlock preparing for the second EVA extravehicular activity. The 2 crew members heading out the door are being assisted by Greg Chamitoff and Shuttle Commander Mark Kelly with all of their preparatory activities ahead of the spacewalk. The 2 astronauts are heading out to the work site. They're heading out to the port side of the station's truss structure to complete a task begun on EVA-1 2 days ago, essentially to reconnect a jumper and then flow about 5 pounds or so of ammonia, basically to recharge the ammonia.
If you hear from Mike Fink's helmet camera as he works on lubricating the top surface of the race ring. To do the bottom surface, they'll have to use a special grease gun with a J-shaped nozzle to get under the race ring. It's currently under cover 9, one of 4 covers that they removed so they could lubricate underneath.
Okay, stand by.
View from Mission Specialist Drew Foistel's helmet camera looking inside the latching end effector of the special purpose dexterous manipulator, basically the hand of that robot, operating the space station's robotic arm, which is holding Dexter within Foistel's reach, is pilot Greg Johnson and flight engineer Katie Coleman.
And okay.
Apply grease to all bearings and every order. Use a box.
Keep grease strip gun is prepped and flowing.
Very good.
Good view here of how the snares look when they are fully constricted. You can see the small triangle they make in the center, which will close around items they're trying to pick up. Pilot Greg Johnson here, taking some photos inside the Quest airlock, ready to meet the spacewalkers as they make their return to the inside of the space station. For Mission Specialist Drew Feustel with his 5 spacewalks, including 2 now at the space station, 35 hours and 24 minutes of spacewalking time for him. That puts him at 30th on the list of astronauts' time spent spacewalking. Fink is just behind him at 32nd on the list with his 34 hours and 19 minutes over 7 spacewalks, the first of which that was in a U.S. spacesuit was today, of course. And today's spacewalk was the 246th spacewalk by U.S. astronauts.
It's fairly quiet on board as the Space Shuttle Endeavour crew is officially off duty for a good bit of the day today. The International Space Station crew is scheduled to wake up about 5 a.m. Central Time, 6 this morning Eastern, to begin a busy day for the space station crew, bidding farewell to 3 of the 6 crew members that make up Expedition 27. Endeavour is docked on the far end of the station, and the Soyuz that's departing is on the Russian segment of the complex, and there's been an exhaustive amount of engineering analysis to show that it is safe for the Soyuz to undock and depart while the space shuttle is docked to the station. And when it does depart, a little bit of extra timeline has been added into the schedule before the Soyuz departs the vicinity for some photo documentation of the configuration of the International Space Station with Space Shuttle Endeavour docked to the complex. The crew has restored several systems on board with the replacement of a failed remote power controller module after a remote power controller tripped on Monday. That caused the temporary loss of some of the equipment on board the station. That was recovered. Mike Fink handled the removal and replacement of the RPCM, and then the ground quickly powered it up and reconfigured all of the systems, and they're all back where they should be. It's essentially very close to having a fuse blow and just having to replace that fuse here on the ground, either in a car or if a circuit breaker popped in your home. Resetting that in the case of the station, it requires a replacement of a piece of equipment, and that was done, and the systems are all back where they were before the power trip. Crew is focusing a good bit on today on replacing one of the carbon dioxide removal assembly beds that basically absorbs carbon dioxide and then vents it overboard in a continuous recycle to remove carbon dioxide from the cabin atmosphere of the International Space Station.
There's Mike and Drew. We're setting up for EVA-3, which is tomorrow. And there's a lot of work to prepare for an EVA each day. The suits have to be reconfigured and prepared. And then we have a lot of tools to set up. Something that they're handling right now is setting up it's an attachment mechanism for the station robotic arm and, to be able to basically walk off to the Russian side of the space station. Our robotic arm can move from one place to another, end over end, and this will allow us to use our robotic arm for tasks on the Russian side of the space station.
There you go, Sid. Yeah, so grab the other handle. Oh, sorry, there we go. Okay. There we go. I was missing one. Looking good. Okay, well, you guys...
There are 3 attach points for this new power and data grapple fixture.
So your safety tether clear. Excellent. Foot 1 is in the seat. Number 2 snugged up. Nice and tight. Okay. All right, so Greg, the secondary lock on foot number 2 closed and locked. I'm giving you WVS views of everything. You can see everything's nice and snug, no cross-threading, no troubles.
Okay, great. I'm looking at number 2. I see that very well.
And I'll give you the same on number 3.
view here from Mission Specialist Drew Foistel's helmet camera as he begins working with some of the cables that have to be connected on the Russian end, while Mission Specialist Mike Fink has moved on to begin routing the cable that comes from the Unity node end. This adds redundancy to the Russian power supply at the station. Mission Specialist Drew Foistel also now out and being moved into place so that he can begin taking off that spacesuit as well. Today was his 6th spacewalk, his 3rd at the International Space Station and for the STS-134 mission, and he adds that number to 3 that he also conducted during the STS-125 mission at the Hubble Space Telescope.
And Houston Endeavour on air to ground 2. Looks like we've got our plan together, and we're going to start with the PDRS dock light inspection.
Shuttle pilot Greg Johnson calling down that the crew is ready to get started with the docked light inspection, ready to perform its last major task as a member of the Space Shuttle STS-134 mission. It will be delivered over to the International Space Station and become a permanent component of the ISS during the 4th of the spacewalks, the 4th and final spacewalk planned during Endeavour's mission. Shuttle Flight Director Gary Horlacher calling on an internal loop to Flight Director Derek Hassman down the hall, giving him permission now to take over the orbiter boom sensor system, giving the handoff permission for that boom to become a permanent component of the International Space Station and essentially effectively be renamed the ISS Boom Assembly.
Houston Endeavour.
Go ahead, Endeavour.
In behalf of the STS-134 crew and the Expedition 27 crew, Space Station Assembly is complete.
Houston copies. Thank you.
Good view of the power and data grapple fixture now installed on what was the orbiter boom sensor system and now will be known as the enhanced, with this addition, International Space Station Boom Assembly. And a good view of the Destiny Laboratory directly below Shamatov, connected to the Harmony module, which connects the Destiny to the Japanese and European labs, Kibo and Columbus, and beyond that, Space Shuttle Endeavour.
Now that we're almost done here, more things to do. Wanted to say a few words. This is the last flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour, and it's also the last spacewalk of shuttle crew members and for station assembly. Kind of fitting that Endeavour is here, because Endeavour was the first shuttle to begin construction of the station, and so it's fitting that she's here for the last mission to finish assembly. And during the CVA, we passed altogether collectively over 1,000 hours of spacewalks as part of station assembly. Mike and I have the honor here to share this last spacewalk. And of course, with all the folks working on the ground, thousands of people who helped build this, working in the shuttle and the station program, we're floating here on the shoulders of giants. This space station, the pinnacle of human achievement and international cooperation. 12 years of building and 15 countries, and now it's the brightest star in the sky and hopefully the doorstep to our future. So congratulations, everybody, on assembly complete.
Mission Specialist Greg Shamatov now in the Quest airlock with Mike Fink, the last Space Shuttle crew member to conduct a spacewalk, now back inside the airlock.
Hey, Mike, we just closed the hatch on another successful and safe EVAs for the shuttle program.
In Station Houston on Space Ground 2 for Mike.
Go ahead, Procedure.
And Mike, this is just for you. We wanted to congratulate you on breaking the duration record, 377 days and counting. Our hearty congratulations.
Thanks, Lucia, and thanks to all the people I've flown with and all the folks who have
supported us from the ground. It's been a great ride, but honestly, I hope this record that we set is going to get broken by future people, and this will be just I guess, a ripple in the wind of humans conquering space. So for the moment, though, I'm going to enjoy it. Thanks for the congratulations.
And it's been a real joy, and we also share that hope with you.
Lucia, just so you know, Mike's planning to break that record tomorrow.
Good deal.
All right, guys.
All right,
show me a jump. Show me a jump. Here we go.
All right.
Both of you. Woo. Up you go.
Here's a view from one of the windows in the cupola. You can see, if you look at the Earth, you can see this is the direction we're going. Usually the station flies with the U.S. side forward. This is the Russian side you're looking at, and we're upside down, basically. And while the shuttle's attached, that's the direction that we fly. And what you're looking at here is a progress vehicle. That's the Russian cargo vehicle. It's a fully automated rendezvous and docking, and then brings up on entry cargo vehicle. You can back up manual fly it from the service module, and the service module, the command and control center for the Russian segment, is back there. It's the next module, and then behind that is the European ATV, automated transfer vehicle. It's the one with the solar panel that's going up at an angle there. And what you see here on top of the FGB is a new Russian module. It's a research module. And below the Progress is called a docking compartment, or SOIDine. You can see there's a little hatch on it with a window. There's one on the other side as well, and they do their spacewalks from that module. This is a module that used to fit inside we had many of these that flew inside the shuttle cargo bay and brought up logistics with it, and this one was modified to stay here permanently. So it's a very nice space, and we've been using it for our EVA preparations, and it's a lot of cargo in there. It's a very nice space to have. You're looking at the U.S. laboratory there. Attached to it is Dexter, the robot from Canada. It's also called SPDM, Special Purpose Dexterous Manipulator. It's got 2 arms, and it'll be able to do replacement tasks outside the station. As you can see, a couple of things attached to it. And of course, there's the shuttle and the Earth behind. Very beautiful. And then coming out the other side is the GEM, the Japanese Research Module, and in front of that is the JEF, the Japanese Exposed Facility, where a lot of research and experiments are conducted. And there's a robotic arm sticking up there. You can see just the end of it. And that arm can actually move things in and out of an airlock at that end of the Japanese module. And you see the beautiful solar panels there, 240 feet from tip to tip, extending out one side.
Hugs and handshakes all around between the Expedition 28 crew members and those of the Space Shuttle Endeavour crew. You heard there talking first Commander Mark Kelly. He was followed by Flight Engineer Ron Guerin and the Space Station Commander Andrei Borisenko. Drew Flistel there helping to drag some of the returning station crew members, Mike Fink and Greg Shamatoff, into the hatch.
You just caught us closing the hatch.
All right, where are you in the procedure?
Equalization valves are off.
It's right at the end.
All right. Hey, Drew, how's it going?
It's going good, Box. We got the fiducial scale, so we're in good shape.
That's good.
Perform LIO change out per the cue card.
All right.
Busy.
You got here just in time.
All right.
Hatch is closed, Box. We're going to be going home soon.
You betcha.
Endeavour Houston on the big loop. You are go for undocking.
Copy. We are go for undocking. Station is ready for undocking.
Houston and station, we have physical separation.
Houston copies.
Station copy.
Endeavour departing. Fair winds and fallen seas, guys. Yeah, thanks, Ron. Appreciate all the help. It's a pleasure serving with you, boys. Go Navy.
Endeavour setting her sails one last time, departing the International Space Station after 12 missions to the orbiting complex.
As we come up on about our 200th sunrise of the mission, we can clearly see AMS now on station and ELC-3. Just want to congratulate the whole team on the ground and the Expedition 27 and 28 crews for all the hard work that you guys have put into this. We're the ones that get to see this incredible view, but you know, you're all with us in spirit, and this is really a new day for science aboard the space station. So thanks to all of you.
Endeavour, thanks very much for the kind words. We'll pass the message, and it's a pleasure for us to be part of the team.
As Endeavour continues to fly around the station, the International Space Station, stretching 357 feet from tip to tip. The pressurized volume, perpendicular volume there is about 240 feet. At the bottom, the docking port from which Endeavour departed the European Columbus Science Laboratory off to the left, and the Japanese experiment module Kibo, the Japanese word for hope, off to the right. And then heading down the length of the volume, the Harmony connecting node to which those modules are attached, in turn is attached to the U.S. laboratory Destiny. Atop Destiny is the center point of that almost 360 degree or 60-foot long truss structure. And then the first U.S. element of the International Space Station launched back in December of 1998. The Unity module is the connecting point from the U.S. segment to the Russian segment of the station. Next in line, the first ever component of the International Space Station, the Zarya control module, with its solar arrays mostly retracted in accordion style. The Zvezda module on the back end is the next module with its solar arrays deployed, served as the early living quarters and the control section of the Russian segment of the complex. And then on the back end with the scissor-shaped solar arrays is the European Space Agency automated transfer vehicle known as the Johannes Kepler. It's been a part of the space station since late February when it arrived, delivering supplies to the station. It's one of several visiting vehicles that the station hosts, including the Russian Soyuz capsule, which delivers crews to and from the station, and also the Progress supply vehicles.
Here's another look at the shuttle landing facility runway at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Again, all preparations going well as the crew of Endeavour, Commander Mark Kelly, pilot Greg Johnson, and mission specialist Roberto Vittori, Mike Fink, Drew Feustel, and Greg Shematoff prepare to come home after almost 16 days in orbit, delivering the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
Endeavour, we do have a good config for the deorbit burn.
Roger. Good config for the burn.
Spacecraft Communicator Butch Wilmer readying up the word from Propulsion Systems Officer that we are in a good configuration for the Deerbutt burn. Again, this will be a Deerbutt burn lasting 2 minutes and 38 seconds, providing a total change in velocity, slowing the shuttle down by 295.3 feet per second, or just under 201 miles an hour. Standing by for the Deerbutt burn in 4, 3, 2, 1. Deerbutt burn start. Endeavour speed now 14,000 miles an hour, or just over Mach 20. Altitude is 42 miles. 1,546 miles to the landing site. Standing by for the first roll reversal, in which the shuttle will bank to the right. 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells. All systems looking good as Endeavour re-enters the Earth's atmosphere and heading home for a landing at Kennedy Space Center. We're now in the area of Terminal Area Energy Management.
Endeavour, we show you on energy approaching the hack. Your winds are now a slight tailwind, about 3 knots, nominal shoot.
Copy the tailwind and nominal shoot. What's the crosswind looking like?
Yeah, there's no crosswind at this time. It's all tail.
Copy.
Again, this is a view out the pilot, Greg Johnson's heads-up display.
Houston, Endeavour, runway's in sight.
Copy, Endeavour, runway in sight.
And a tally-ho from the flight crew of the runway. I can see it in sight now. Speed now 400 miles an hour. Altitude 2.2 miles, or 110,000 feet. Speed. And there's a referred camera view of the Space Shuttle Endeavour as it's coming in for landing. Gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Drag chute deployed by Greg Johnson. Forward gear touchdown. And so after a journey of 6.5 million miles, Endeavour landing in darkness, but illuminated by the ingenuity, dedication of every astronaut, scientist, engineer, flight controller, mechanic, and dreamer that helped it fly. The fleet's youngest ship completing its 122 millionth mile after its crew delivered an instrument to the International Space Station that will sift through the cosmic darkness for years to come.
Houston, Endeavour, we'll stop.
122 million miles flown during 25 challenging space flights. Your landing ends a vibrant legacy for this amazing vehicle that will long be remembered. Welcome home, Endeavour.
Yeah, thank you, Houston. You know, the Space Shuttle is an amazing vehicle to fly through the atmosphere, hit it at Mach 25, steer through the atmosphere like an airplane, land on a runway. It is really, really an incredible ship. On behalf of my entire crew, I want to thank every person that's worked to get this mission going, and every person that's worked on Endeavour. It's sad to see her land for the last time, but she really has a great legacy.
Great words. Thank you, Mark, and we will meet you and your crew on 5-3.
5-3.
And so the Space Shuttle Endeavour touching down at Kennedy Space Center on time at 1:35 a.m. Central Time, 2:35 a.m. Eastern. Commander Mark Kelly guiding it to a very gentle touchdown on runway 15 at Kennedy Space Center Shuttle Landing Facility.
our first looks of, and now we have our first looks of Endeavour's crew, led by Commander Mark Kelly, pilot Greg Johnson. Greeted first by NASA Administrator Charlie Bolden. Mission Specialist Mike Fink, wearing the baseball cap. European Space Agency Roberto Vittori. Drew Foystel. Making their way down the essentially receiving greeting line. See Bob Cabana, and then behind him, Associate Administrator for Space Operations Bill Gerstenmaier, and Greg Shamatov. Shaking hands with Bill Gerstenmaier now. See Mike Leinbach, Shuttle Launch Director, and Thomas Ryder, the Director of Human Spaceflight for the European Space Agency. And
you guys can come up if you'd like, because I'm going to introduce Mark Kelly and his crew. We want to welcome him back after an incredible mission. And Mark Kelly, you got it.
First, let me say, I know it's 3:30, 4 in the morning, so it's really late for everybody. It's actually about we're wide awake, and it's about middle of the day for us. It's great to be back here at the Kennedy Space Center. It's great to bring Endeavour back in great shape. It looks like it's ready to go do another mission, but this is going to be the last flight. Mission went great. We installed the alpha magnetic spectrometer, ELC-3, so we have the station positioned to where over the next 10, 15, 20 years, it's got the spare parts it needs to continue doing the science that is so relevant today. AMS is already collecting data. We're pretty excited about that and looking forward to hearing some more about it. I really want to thank my crew members who did such a spectacular job on this flight. Could not have done this without them. They all, every single one of them, just performed flawlessly.
Commander, we want to thank him too.
So thanks for coming out. It's great to be back, and have a good morning. So long.